What is karma?
I ask this question a lot with my students and people who come to workshops. And everybody has an opinion about karma. But then I ask them, what does the word actually mean? And they have no idea what the word actually means. The word just means action. But there are all kinds of notions about karma. There's good karma, there's bad karma. People say, if you do something good, you have good karma. If you do something bad, you have bad karma. That's just nonsense. That's not knowing what karma is. Or the one you hear a lot is, what goes around comes around. This is just our psychological idea of what karma is. Karma is just action. Our karma right now is sitting here on a chair speaking. This is our karma. What we're doing is our karma. The problem is we keep repeating the same actions. We keep repeating the same thoughts. So we think that what goes around comes around because if you act the same way today as you do 5 years from now, I can predict your future. Anybody can. Because if you don't change, you're going to get the same result. So people think because of that, what goes around comes around. No, you're just doing the same thing over and over again. Anything that repeats is going to turn out the same way. But if you view karma as good and bad, then you're trapped. I'll give you an example. So I'm driving in my truck a few years back, and someone in front of me made a quick turn to the right, but before they turned all the way, they stopped. So I had to make a sudden stop. I looked in my rearview mirror and I could see someone barreling up behind me, and they're not looking, they're looking down. So I'm ready for this impact because I see it's coming. And just at the last second, this person looked up, but it's too late, plowed into the back of my truck. It all happened in a matter of seconds, So now she plowed into my truck. I go to the insurance company, they say, your truck is too damn old to give you any money for it. So we're going to have to total it, we can't fix it, There's no way to fix it. So is this good karma for me or bad karma for me? What do you think?
I think it just is what it is. There's
Well,
no good or
some
bad.
people would say, oh, I'm so sorry, bad karma. What did you do? So have someone ram into you like this, it must be your fault and this like that. However, it turned out good for me because, I got a lot more for my truck than I would if I could sell it in the condition it was in. So was it good karma, bad karma? It just doesn't matter.
Right.
There is a consequence to action. Any action you take. If you get in your car to drive, you will be driving. That's the consequence of getting in your car to drive. Do you get into an accident? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. It doesn't matter. There's a consequence to your action. But if we put good and bad on the consequence, you're trapped in the good and bad of the world. And everybody, this is just opinion. It's just perspective. Because from one person's view, what you did was good. Another person's view, it was bad. You look at the world today and all the fighting, right? And people say, well, if we're in the United States, we look at the terrorists and we say, that's evil. Well, if you were a terrorist, you'd look at it in the United States and say, that's evil.
Exactly.
It's just your perspective. So karma is just an action. It shouldn't be considered good or bad. It should be, you should note that your actions have consequences. So if you know they have consequences, your action will only be what is necessary in the moment. And what is necessary in the moment could be, to save someone's life by, stopping them from walking off the street, or having to kill another person to protect someone. Whatever is necessary in the moment, that's it. If you create psychological drama around it, now you're doing it for reasons that are not in the moment. They're for reasons that are a belief structure, a psychological structure, your certain meaning about the world, all those things. That's what makes everything complicated. And that's what causes wars and fighting and violence. All you need to do is do what's necessary in the moment. And then your actions are just actions from there.
So how is that related to memory? So if actions are just actions, how do we touch that back to memory?
See, your memory and your karma are tied together because your karma today is acted, the actions you have are from your memory. We're acting always from our past and we're putting that into the future. How you are in the past or how you were in the past, if you act the same way today as you did in the past, nothing will change. So all of the five senses that you have right now, even the tastes in your tongue, right? You could go to a foreign country and you taste a food that you never tasted before and you would say, oh my goodness, that's horrible. But there's someone else in that country that is eating it, they would say, this tastes so wonderful to me. Your tongue remembers, right? The body, the cells, and the memory, it remembers a taste. And it remembers it as something that's good, tastes wonderful to you or doesn't taste wonderful to you. So your memory plays an important role in how you are today. What you hear sounds good to you, what you see looks good to you, and it's all from our memory, right? Because if you grow up someplace else with different tastes and different sounds and different, what you look at is different, that becomes your memory. And so that's pleasant for you, right? And something else might be unpleasant for you. But it's just tied to your memory. And so if you act out of your memory all the time, right, you're never seeing everything. You're just seeing what's pleasant to you because of your memory. But other things can be so wonderful, but you're not open to it because your memory says, no, this is how life is.
Right. So how do we start to notice our memories? How are we able to start to understand how our actions in this moment, how do we even get into this moment so that we can be aware and maybe start to open up to other possibilities rather than always living in the past with memories that might not necessarily support a healthy, beautiful life?
I'm going to ask you a question if you don't mind. We can hear the water in the background.
Yes.
What does it mean to you? What does it bring up in your mind, the water?
A sense of pleasantness and peace.
Okay. What if you were in a part of the country or a part of the world where running water was not a possibility? Where, water was a commodity where if you don't have it, you're dying. To them, running water means something very, very different, right?
Right.
So it's just your view and your perception of what does running water mean to you, because it could mean life,
Right.
like survival, or this is so pleasant listening to running water.
But if I was a mother who had lost a child in a drowning accident, the
It
sound
means
of
something else, right?
water would, yes.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So it's tied to your memory,
Right.
right? How the water's flowing, what it sounds. Your memory recreates running water sound means this, right? So you have to understand, if you can understand that it is your memory that's tied to the sound of running water or anything else, you can escape the trap of tying it to an emotion, because that's what happens to us, we tie it to an emotion. So if you could recognize that the sound is tying an emotion in you, then you can recognize it and try to separate from yourself. If you can start to recognize it, you can separate it from your emotion and say, the running water, the sound of it has nothing to do with this emotion in the moment. It's not, I would say it's not an easy process, but it's not something that's insurmountable. Absolutely, you can do that.
So what advice would you have for somebody, for instance, a veteran who has returned from war and has what they call moral injury, somebody who has done things against others, killed others, children, women, and they've come back and now they're dealing with a sense of moral injury. How would they be able to heal from something like that as a karma and as also to heal their memories so that they're not dealing with that?
Yeah, that becomes a very strong emotional connection. You see, these words will sound very simple, but it's actually the truth. Their actions have nothing to do with them. They have nothing to do with who they are. They're just actions. But because they're tied to an emotional connection with us, they become a very serious part of our lives. I remember a friend of mine told me that when he came back from Vietnam, when he went to fireworks, it would set him off. And not in a way that he would just remember, what a time it was, but he would actually want to go kill someone. That's how strong it was a connection in him. So he had to work on disassociating the emotion connection with the actual sound. That takes work. But if you can see that the actions that we're taking has nothing to do with who you are. I know those simple words, but that is actually the reality. Your human actions have nothing to do with who you are. And if you can separate that, you can see that anything that has happened in the past is not here unless you carry it around with you. Trying to get that and get that through to someone who has been through trauma like that is, I think, is a step-by-step process. But letting them know in the beginning, I think it's an important thing for them to know that it really has nothing to do with who they are. The human, because all of our actions as a human being come out of memory and karma. Right? They have nothing to do with who we are. And if we can separate that, we can live joyfully without carrying the stuff around with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.